All right, it says we're live. We are live and we're kicking now.
I am alive.
I'm going to double check to make sure that it's doing that on my phone. Oh, that's us. That's us right there. Wow.
Hi, me.
Hi. Hi, us. Oh, wow, that's so many people. One, let's go. Hello, Magical Fine Rain. OR4I, active, T-active. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Welcome to the live stream. Oh, we're getting people piling in. Let's go. Welcome to the family. Can y'all hear me, by the way? Can you hear us through the microphone? A little mic check. What up? Billy Smith, what up? Yes, yeah. Cove. Oh, our man Cove is here, dude. Cove is the man. Just finish up the episode. Aw, yeah. Total drama crap stars. You are awesome. Zeke, let's go. Hey, that's totally tops, dude.
Breezy tea.
Breezy tea. All right, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the live Q&A. I have with me, well, first I should introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Derek Jackman. I'm the creator of the Mysteries of Kruger Mansion, and this is my executive producer. You want to introduce yourself?
No, just kidding. No, I'm Nick Schneider, and as he said, I've been helping him out doing the executive producing. So it's been awesome. It's been a blast. What do you all think?
Oh yeah, let's freaking go. There it is, the delay on the comment section. No. I was waiting for someone to be like, it was terrible.
They're still typing that message.
They're just like, well, we're mainly doing this stream just because we're filled with so much gratitude, and we feel extremely privileged to have had you guys as a part of the Kruger family. And for the opportunity to share that episode with you. And so we want to address any questions that y'all might have about the production, maybe moving forward, or if you have any questions about the first episode, about the pilot episode, and we can talk a little bit about that and discuss just some of your curious inquiries, as Lockhart would say. So if you have those questions, feel free to just shoot them in the live comment section, and we'll address most of them.
Chat us up.
Oh yeah.
We'll tell you if it's forbidden information, or we won't tell you.
First question is, why does one of the characters look like Spider-Gwen? Is that a coincidence? Spider-Gwen. Oh, Ember. You're thinking Ember, aren't you? Spider-Gwen from Multiverse. Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I never really thought about that. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even think about that. But you know what?
I'm gonna go with magical coincidence.
Yeah, magical coincidence. Yeah. It's mystical. It's paranormal.
It's it's multiverse, so makes sense.
Yeah. Maybe it is Spider-Gwen. Spider Ember. Y'all really went the Danganronpa route. 14 contestants and passing out. It's true. We were heavily inspired by Danganronpa. All of the games, all 3 games, I'm a huge fan. And so, like, some of the writing, you'll see a lot of inspiration from those games. What was your inspiration for this series? Well, Danganronpa. But, there are a plethora of different mediums that inspired this show, such as the board game Clue. That's like the prime inspiration. Clue is my favorite board game. Not Nick's favorite board game. His favorite board game is probably like Yahtzee or something. Just kidding. No, we play a mean game of Hungry Hippos. But
Tiddlywinks, actually. That's where it's at.
But Among Us as well is a prime source of inspiration. But then there's also a TV show that Nick and I watched together called The Haunting
of Hill House.
Yep.
Yeah, really, really cool show. If you haven't seen it, definitely check that out. If you're a fan of this kind of content, I think it would definitely strike a chord with you. Definitely a lot of inspiration in terms of just the overall feel and vibe. There's a lot of really heavy things in The Haunting of Hill House. And they also do a really cool job of hiding ghosts everywhere. Did anybody see a ghost during that episode other than the one in the window? That one does not count. Everyone's supposed to see that. I'm curious though. I'm curious.
No, put that in the comment section below if you did see some hidden ghosts. We'd love to see which ones you saw because they're layered throughout the episode.
But yeah, I think one of the reasons I didn't love Clue as much was because I love mystery so much. I read every single Sherlock Holmes book that's ever been written. And when I played Clue, I expected it to be, mystery based. And when it was kind of like process of elimination, I was like, oh, dang it. But that is definitely not true with the Mysteries of Kruger Mansion. Mysteries of Kruger Mansion has all of that classic mystery feel, with a really, really brain teaser of a mystery at its core and a great story to go along. So it's awesome.
One game that Nick and I regularly play, we used to do it on a weekly basis, was a game called Betrayal on the House of the Hill. And we would it's a game where you can play with 6 other people, and it brings you through like a new story, and there's like 100 different scenarios you can play through. And it's got kind of a Mysteries of Kruger Mansion tint to it. And so like we're just obsessed with that game, and it's brought us a lot of inspiration.
We really love betraying each other and our friends as well.
So why we're so good at the game, Secret Hitler too. Nick, when can we expect the next episode?
Oh, do you want me to address that?
I think either one of us could. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends a little bit on you guys there, but yeah, I'd let you probably actually speak to that one.
Yeah, it very much depends on the I guess the outcome of this episode. A lot of the so much time and so much talent was brought into the production of this show, and as you know, it's been a 2 to 2.5 year long process from start to finish to produce this pilot episode. And with the money that we've had and the resources that we've had to create it, which wasn't a lot of money, I think that we got so much more than what we anticipated, and so it's going to be a long process. However, it really does depend on a few factors, whether or not we get picked up from a studio, which right now we're trying to get this out there into the nether so that we can get it in front of MrBeast, because we'd love to pitch it to him, because we think that one day he's going to own his own production studio. However, if we get other offers that are also tempting, then we might go that route. So as far as when could we see episode 2, it depends on if we get picked up, if we make enough money to do our own standalone episode, or if it just kind of falls in our lap, or if people just want to keep running with it. And so it really depends on quite a few different factors on when we're going to see the second episode. But just know that we are right now trying to finish up the scripting for the whole season. So right now we have 20 episodes that we're writing for the entire season, and we're trying to be delicate with how we handle it, because we don't want there to be an episode that flops or an episode that isn't relevant. We really want it all to be just meaty and fun and exciting, and something that really tingles your mental sensations.
And I can tell you, as somebody who's gotten to read these other episodes, they just get better. I was not like hooked on this show until episode 3. So if you liked episode 1, stick around for episode 2, 3, 4 and beyond, because it only gets better. And to Derek's point there, this is something that we are very passionate about. We want to bring it to you in whatever form that we can. And unlike most TV shows, like if you're waiting for the next episode of Stranger Things, there's nothing that you can do to make that go any faster, right? But that's not the case with this show. With this show, it really does depend a lot on, as he said, if we get picked up by a large studio and what studio that is. we know that MrBeast can get things done. You know, that guy can build Willy Wonka's chocolate factory in like 2 months and stage a whole thing and do the whole video and get it out. Whereas other, you know, studios and things, they're lagging on their production for 5 years, and then they do rewrites and they have to rebuild everything, you know. So for him, if we can get picked up by him or somebody that could also bring this to the, you know, bring our vision to light, you could see this pretty quickly. So
yeah. You know, he was just in an interview recently, and I don't want to make this all about MrBeast because we got some other questions we have to address, but he was in an interview recently, and this is going to be your first time hearing about this, but a comedian actually asked him, he's like, hey, yo, you're like running the world right now. You ever thought about owning a streaming service? And he literally said, I cannot comment on that right now. And everybody knows what that means. So it's like, we want a gun for that because we think he's the future of entertainment right now. And we want to invest our intellectual property, our baby, into the future of entertainment, something that hasn't been, I guess, controlled by people who've been in the industry for 50 plus years. So it gives us like creative freedom.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What was the most difficult when the story? So I'm guessing with the story is what you mean by that. But that's a comment by Storm Slasher to address Storm Slasher's question. What was the most difficult part of the story to create? It's probably the lore. The lore takes so much time. It's also one of the most exciting parts because you get to flesh out the world. And so it's extremely like exciting because with the lore, you have to have kind of like the whole thing mapped out, not just mentally, but I have what's called a story Bible, which addresses the things that I need to actually throw into an episode at a specific time. So it allows you to kind of be spoon-fed specific key plot points. But it doesn't give away the whole story all at once. But it also is engaging enough to where it's like you feel like you're getting enough information to where you don't feel like you're getting gypped, you know? And I think one of the hardest things too is understanding that you guys are intelligent. I feel like a lot of stories treat the audience like they're just 4 steps behind the writers. But the simple truth is, you guys have seen so much entertainment growing up. You've seen so many different things that have inspired you throughout your life. Many of you are writers. And so like when I'm writing this show, I am very cognizant that I'm writing to an audience that is extremely intelligent, and you guys are going to piece things together really fast. And so I need to be able to keep up with your minds. So really, as a writer, you guys aren't just keeping up with me. I'm trying to keep up with you. And so I hope you guys take that as a compliment, because I think that's the hardest part, is finding that middle ground, knowing that you guys are like 4 steps ahead, and writing to cater to that mind that you guys so preciously have. What inspired you to create all these different characters? It's a good question. Well, one of our characters is actually inspired by a comedian who we very recently met. Recently, meaning we met him about 10 months ago, and we've met with him a few times since then. But that guy's name is Olin Rogers. And Olin Rogers is somebody who greatly inspired Nick and I growing up. And someone that we actually, when Nick and I met, someone that we actually connected over and really helped forge our friendship at the very beginning. You want to talk about that story?
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of funny because like I had met Derek like kind of in passing a couple times, and we had always been like, hey, we should get some people together, and like, you know, we should have a little get together. And one night I think we both had dates, and we were like, we should like, you know, grab a couple more people and just do like a little movie night or something. And we're waiting on a couple people to show up, so everybody's just kind of, you know, sitting there. I'm sure you've all been there, right? And we're like, well, let's just watch some random YouTube. And I can't remember who put it on first, but one of us suggested one of the old Balloon Shop videos, which is like OG YouTube, like back in, well, yeah, back in the day, a long time ago. And yeah, we were like, oh, and have you seen this one and this one? And then by the end of it, it was like we had basically both already seen all of the same videos and loved all the same videos. So when Nolan Rogers came and did a show here, we definitely wanted to go watch that. So we got a group together, went to go see him, and we got to talk to him a little bit after. And you know, you always expect that, you know, kind of celebrities and people that you've always watched and stuff, that they'll be like nice, you know, they'll be nice to you. Oh, you're buying my merchandise, you're coming to my show, you know, I'll be pleasant. But he was, I would say he was more than that. You know, he seemed genuinely like engaged and interested in what we were doing. And so we were able to meet with him a couple times since then and have some really good conversations. He having done Final Space, he knows a lot about the industry, you know, animation and how difficult it can be, but also how rewarding it can be. And so we got to have those kinds of conversations with him. And he's a cool guy. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, and he's totally tops for sure.
Oh, so which character did he inspire? I don't know if you mentioned.
So he inspired Flint Pullock, who is kind of the comedic relief of the show. And we have a few characters who are pretty comedic. I mean, we got Darla, Eli, Yuri, Tuan with his dry sarcasm. But speaking of which, you know, going off of that question, post in the comment section who your favorite character is. We'd love to know, based on the first episode, who you connected with the most. And maybe it took you by surprise because maybe you matched with someone different on the personality quiz compared to the person that you like the most on the show. So put that in the comment section for sure. From Zeke the Geek, Clue is my favorite board game as well, and I'm a huge fan of Danganronpa, and maybe that's part of the why I connected with this show. How many episodes are you planning to make for this season? From Total Drama Crap Stars. Right now, oh, I lost it. Right now, we have 20 episodes that we're planning for season 1, and so that's what we're grinding on right now, as we're in kind of the pending period of what we're going to do with the future of episode 2. So we're trying to finish up the entire season. I was watching an interview with a director by the name of James Wan. He directed the Conjuring movies and Insidious and even the Saw movies, which is kind of gritty, but he was able to produce this show called Dead Silence, and it just did not pan out how he was expecting. And it was because he came in with a concept, but no script attached to it. So when he got picked up, they hired a bunch of Hollywood script writers to take care of the story, and it just did not match his original vision. And the movie didn't do as well as it could have. It wasn't as successful as many of his other movies that came afterwards. And so after that, he had talked about how he wants to go into a pitch meeting now with scripts already finished, so that, you know, these people who are hired as writers can come in and make the corrections that they need, help make the things that are necessary to a story, but don't necessarily change the vision. And so that's right now our goal, is to finish up the entire season of scripts, which is like 30 pages each time. So 30 times 20, that's 600 pages. And so it does take a while, but we're getting there. We're getting there. And Nick's been reading and proofreading the scripts. We have a writing team who's been proofreading the scripts, and so that's been a lot of fun.
Yep. No, it's been awesome getting to see them unfold, because, you know, the season is completely planned, but actually seeing it like fleshed out is something entirely different. And yeah, it's been awesome. It's been awesome. The writing, the reason I think the next episodes get so much more engaging, at least to me, is because the first episode, you know, Derek has to spend a lot of time establishing a universe, establishing a setting, establishing characters, trying to build tension, intrigue, all these things. You know, from episode 2, really, you get to just more experience the story and the characters and everything. And it's yeah, it just unfolds really, really well. So yeah, cool stuff.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate that.
All right.
From a fairly normal channel, can one of the characters get drunk later? Just you wait till episode 8, which Nick hasn't even read yet.
You said I wasn't old enough to read it. I didn't know what that meant, but
maybe when you're older, when you grow up.
Never.
Will auditions be held for future characters? Yes. Yes, we do have some staff that have not been introduced in this episode, and so we'll be hosting auditions for those staff. And then also, yeah, there'll just be more opportunities in the future, for sure. For sure. This show will not die. We won't let it die. We're going to keep grinding away at the production of this show until something inevitably happens. And that tenacity, that hard work that we plan on putting in, we believe that's going to pay off in the end. And we'll be doing this to the day that we die. And then we end up as ghosts in the mansion.
My dream, actually.
Yeah. In the early stages of creating the show, did you have any characters that were scrapped? And that was written by Total Drama Crap Stars. Always coming out with these banger questions. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we did. Actually, there were some characters who got merged into one character. So there were like 2 original characters that got merged into a character. And there were 2 characters that got, split into 2 different characters. Ember and Darla originally were one character. And that character's name was actually going to be Mabel, which was direct inspiration from Gravity Falls. And so Ember and Darla were originally just one specific character named Mabel, where it was a southern blonde southern belle. Her storyline was completely different from what the original or what the current storyline is for her character, for their characters. And so, there's definitely been a lot of changes. Tuan's character is completely different than what we originally had for him as well. And so in the early stages, I think all the characters were completely different except for Flint. Flint's always been the same. But it's definitely gone through a cycle, and there were a myriad of different characters that we will see that have been scrapped from season 1 that will actually see get recycled into maybe future seasons if we get there. So, that's a great question though.
Mm-hmm. I love seeing that there's a real diversity of the characters that people are really liking. That they're like Riley, Ember, Mick. Somebody says Mick is yeah. Gnome is like, that's basically me. I'm not sure if I would want to bump into Gnome, but Mick is one of my favorite characters as well. He's a little prickly here early on, but he has his reasons. We all do, right?
Yeah. We'll start to understand why, as the story goes on. Was ETN one of the inspirations for the show? From Thomas, the Real Pix Queen. Sorry for mispronouncing that. ETN, Nick and I were actually going through the comment section and we were like, what is ETN? I just realized what it is. It's people have talked about this. It's Escape the Night, which I am aware of what Escape the Night is, but I haven't actually watched Escape the Night.
Should we watch Escape the Night?
Yeah, leave that in the comments. If you have recommendations to Escape the Night, I'm willing to purchase YouTube Red to watch it. So I believe you can't watch it unless you have YouTube Red. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
sneaky.
But I have heard of it, especially since we started this production. People have been talking about Escape the Night. And people have been telling me about some of their like specific plot points. And it's like, in what world, how did we end up being so similar? So we have not seen Escape the Night. So we'll have to check it out. Love Final Space. So do we. It's great. It's a great show.
Mm-hmm.
if you guys did the quiz, who did you guys get? From Maz83. Who'd you get?
I got the most manly man in the cast.
Shut up, Nick.
Well, I mean, unless you want to, refute what I just said, then I'm just gonna let that stand.
Nick got a woman. Who'd you got either Kendall or Aaliyah? Who was
Aaliyah?
You got Aaliyah
because she's awesome.
She is awesome. She's the magician and Nancy Drew type. So she's pretty cool. She didn't get much dialogue in episode 1 though, but
she'll shine later.
Oh yeah,
we always do.
The characters that didn't get enough dialogue in episode 1, they get their time to shine. That's for sure. And I got Yuriyama. So I got a little Japanese girl, and she's awesome. Might I say so myself? Riley for the win. Ember for the win. Oh, every time I scroll, it just wants to automatically go all the way down. Now we got to find where we were. Oh, there we go. Favorite characters, Ember. A lot of people are loving on Ember. That's awesome. Mick. Flint. Ice Queen auditioned for Ember. I remember that. Ice Queen, you did a fantastic job with your audition. From Breezy T. Eli, Yuri, and Danny are my favorites in the first episode. Awesome. Good choices. Good choice. Eli with that Riz. Oh, by the way, anytime that Nick and I have this thing where anytime the Room of Fortune gets brought up, we literally just go, Room of Fortune! And so it's just like a little comedic thing that Nick and I have, like, anytime we're reading the scripts and any of the characters are in the Room of Fortune, we'll just be like, Room of Fortune!
It just sounds like a game show, like a little aspect of a game show or whatever. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we'll be entering the Room of Fortune! I don't know.
And so it's so fun. There's just these small little things that, Nick being my best friend for these past few years and then also being a part of the production, it's made it so much more fun. And I think that you get to see that shine in the scripts, which, usually I would discourage making like a business relationship with one of your friends, because that can be pretty shifty. It can be pretty dangerous. But Nick and I, we're not just friends, we're like brothers, and we actually we say the same things at the exact same time. Sometimes we're able to predict each other's behavior. But him and I were such healthy business compadres, companions, business friends. And so
business bros.
Yeah. Hey, the busy bros. And so we've been able to just make this work so well. And I'm excited about the future of the production, not just because of the scripts and because of how exciting the creative process is, but also because I get to work with one of my best friends. And so that's what makes it ultimately 10 times better.
Yeah. The scripts are awesome. The show has so much potential, but getting to work with one of my pretty good friends does make it some better. So no, it is. It's actually so true. It's ridiculous how we will literally be thinking the same thing at the same time, or say the exact same thing at the same time. Because I swear we are very different people, but there's also this brain wave that we just get on somehow. I don't know. It's crazy, but it's good stuff.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny sometimes. You'll see. As time goes by.
I swear there'll be something funny.
Yeah, I swear I'm funny.
I'm funny too sometimes.
Guitar Girl and Lockpicking Dude, I think, are my faves so far, from Thomas.
Lockpicking Dude. Yeah, Sammy's good.
He's
a great character.
A homie. I don't think this game would suit you then.
Damn it! I was literally just about to say that. I was starting to say it, and then he was like, oh, no, Derek's going to say something. I won't say it. And then, yeah, that was literally the line I was going to say.
Ultron to your Iron Man, bro.
Whatever.
Got Ember on the quiz, but I think Danny is my favorite so far. Cool. Good. Mm-hmm. Two sides to the same coin right there.
Mhm.
Kayla, thank you. Thank you for your comment. I'm proud of you, Kayla. Noam, oftentimes you can tell how the series or a movie goes off of the trailer of the writer's idea, the trail of the writer's idea for the story. It's either too Hollywood or not selling enough. Yep. And I think it's mainly just because people don't treat their audience like they're intelligent. And so we're hoping to treat you guys, because we're very aware that you guys are smart. You guys are intelligent. So we're trying to put in as many red herrings as we can, and we're trying to write as if we're writing to smart people.
But not cheap ones. There's different kinds of red herrings, and some red herrings are just that, where it is something that a stumbling block that is purposefully put in the viewer or reader's way to keep them from the real truth. I think there's a big difference between that sort of red herring and in there being something that really matters to a character, to the story, to the plot. Because, like in life, you think you have things figured out on a pretty regular basis, but a lot of times you don't. And yeah, every once in a while, somebody's actively trying to deceive you, but oftentimes just life is complex. And so you may think you have something figured out, but really, your focus was just a little in the wrong place, or whatever the case may be. And so I think this show has a lot of the right kind of red herrings that, yes, you will get, pulled in all kinds of different directions, but there's a real justification for that. There's a real reason. It's not just because Derek hates you,
That's not the only reason.
Yeah, there's more reasons.
How are you guys doing with working with Totally Tops Television, Blue Studios, and Odd Nation Cartoons? It's been a blessing. Adam Dean helms Blue Studios, and Jared and Robert
awesome guy.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. And Jared and Robert, they helm Odd Nation Cartoons, and we got to know Jared and Robert because we reached out to them just at the precise time, which was right when they were going through that legal battle with a network. And so we reached out to them and we were like, hey, you want to help us with this project? And we were able to kind of recruit them, and they've been so easy to work with. They are so accommodating and very patient with us as we learn the ropes for the first time. And so they've been just absolutely awesome. And so Adam, Jared, Robert, big shout out to you guys. You guys are stellar, and they're such amazing creators. It's so fun to work with. It's a good question, by the way. Magical Fine Rain. Previously mentioned that there's Spanish dubbing for the series. Is that still standing? From R4I, is there going to be a Spanish dubbing? Yes. So the Spanish dub is going to be released on Odd Nation Cartoons. So on their YouTube channel, they are going to be casting a Spanish cast, and then they'll be dubbing it all in Spanish. Same sound effects, same music, same everything. We're going to give them everything that we've produced, just without the voices, and then they'll dub over it. And so yeah, you'll get a Spanish dub, and then we're also thinking about dubbing it in different languages. So if you have a recommended language, let us know, because we're in Utah, which is a hot spot for many different languages. Surprisingly enough, it's kind of a melting pot for a plethora of different languages, because a lot of people have served missions, which means that they go out and they serve in a different country or a different state somewhere around the world. And so a lot of those people, they get acquainted with so many different languages. So we have a lot of resources and opportunities to dub it in different languages like Korean, Japanese, and different languages that you might not suspect. So if you have a language that you would like to recommend, let us know, because we might have the ability to do it.
I remember I was at the library studying one day, and I heard like 5 different languages all going on around me, and I like looked around. I was like, wait,
where am I?
Mandarin Chinese over here. There was, I believe it was in some African language, but I'm not sure like which region. the Spanish, and what was the other? Oh, it sounded almost like Eastern European, you know, but I was just like, wow.
That's the beauty of just living here. You know, we've been able to form so many awesome connections. And most of our cast isn't from our state. They were all cast from outside of the state. But one of our cast members, Emma Moore, Emma Andresen Moore, she was originally from Utah. And after we had cast her, we found out that we actually went to the same college. And we ended up making a video together where we interviewed people on campus and had them take the personality quiz. And that was so much fun. And it was so cool getting to know her as a cast member. And then when we did a live theatrical premiere a month ago from tomorrow, actually, we had over 100 people actually attend this premiere, which was so much fun. And much of our cast and crew actually flew out for it. And we got to hang out with them. And that was super fun, too. So it's just been kind of a blast. The whole production's just been a blast. And we've been learning so many new skills and so many new talents as we go throughout this production.
Yeah, Emma killed it.
Emma killed it. Oh my gosh, she's just Yuri to the T. She's perfect for Yuri. How many characters were there originally? Originally, there were only 10. But as I said, you know, the cast kind of changed a little bit throughout time. Some characters split into 2, and then some characters got merged into 1. And so we ended up with 14, and it ended up just feeling right. Great question from Ice Queen, by the way. From Maz83, will we meet other people in the show besides the wonderful contestants we met in the first episode? What do you think, Nick?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some interesting characters that kind of come in, and plus you get to know the staff, you know, a lot better. This episode, they just make an extremely brief appearance, and most of them certainly don't play as big a role as the actual contestants, but they do play. They don't just serve food, you know.
They serve mysteries.
That's right. Serve a lot hot.
We were in the live theatrical premiere, and we ended up doing a Q&A, a spur of the moment Q&A there with our cast and crew, and so many questions were getting thrown our way, but there was a question that we couldn't answer. It was a genius question, and I forgot what it was, but it was like, I can't answer that question for you, and everybody was like, oh, boo. And then someone in the audience, I think it was one of our friends named Shane, he's like, it's called The Mysteries of Kruger Mansion, not The Answers of Kruger Mansion. And we were like, you go, Shane. But you will get answers to all of these questions in time and more. Yes. From Ice Queen again, what will the elimination style be like? So in the Room of Fortune, that's where our contestants will actually meet up, and that's where the eliminations will take place. They actually call it the banishment ritual, where they nominate a sacrifice, and based on a popular vote, popular nomination, that person will be banished from the mansion. And so that's how the style will take place. They'll be sectioned off into teams moving forward, where they'll compete in different challenges that help them uncover mysteries about the show. And then based on their performance, it'll either grant them immunity or lead them to the banishment ritual. And so that's how it happens.
The stakes get high.
Yeah. And addressing the next part to that question, will any characters die? As far as the competition is concerned, the competition is strictly just banished away from the estate. So we don't kill anyone from the banishment ritual, if that helps answer that question. But will there be death in the show? I think the first scene can answer that question. From Cole, it's free. Cole is probably referring to Escape the Night.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it's free, then we'll have to check it out. We'll do a little bro movie night. Order some pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, skip this all the way down. Okay, let's find where we
every
are.
time.
Lean. Hi, Derek. Hi. Sorry, I don't want to skip any. We're gonna start from here. See, we lost our place. From Noam, was it difficult to write characters that actually feel like real people? Danganronpa mostly has crazy people. So I work in therapy. That's my main job. I work as a therapeutic manager. Well, manager as like a supervisor. I'm a supervisor, um, and and so I work in the field of psychology. So writing characters is actually super fun. Giving them backstory and things like that. That was kind of the easy part of the writing process because I love fleshing people out. Because I believe one of my biggest beliefs in a series is that the characters are the bridge between the story and the audience. That is the lens that you see the story from and through. And so the characters, they need to be relatable. And that's partially why I like the first season of Total Drama Island, but don't necessarily relate to the later seasons. And that's because it just gets wackier and wackier. Whereas I feel like the first season is they're stereotypes, but they're grounded. And so I believe that like the more relatable specific characters are, the easier it is for you to connect to the story. And so that's ultimately what the goal was to create characters that feel real, that feel like this is someone I could actually run into in real life. Mm-hmm. And so I base a lot of these characters on real life people, like Flint based on Olin Rogers, but also a lot of the other characters are based on people that I've been able to just kind of like observe, whether or not it's in like a Walmart and I'm just like walking past someone and I'm like, oh, they'd make for a really interesting character, or if it's like an old friend of mine that inspired me. Granted, I do take my own spin on that person because I don't want that character to be predictable, but I do try to make a reasonable character personality.
And to be honest, that was one of the things that really impressed me about Derek's writing. Because, like I said, I was definitely not convinced that this was something I wanted to be a part of. But I'm constantly frustrated when I watch shows and they will put characters in crazy situations, but the characters will also be crazy. They won't act like actual people. They won't talk like actual people. They won't care about the things that actual people will care about. And it really does create this dissonance between you and what's unfolding in front of you. But I was really impressed with the way that, you know, just like Derek, you know, I know a lot of people, and it's like, oh yeah, I know somebody like that, and okay, yeah, I know somebody like that, and oh, I do think like that. You know, I can definitely relate to that, and so I was definitely impressed with his ability to write real, relatable characters, and I do think that's one of the core strengths of this show, and it's one of the reasons why the eliminations will actually matter because, you know, if you're watching something that is elimination based, that's just a mechanism to bring the story to conclusion if you don't care about those people. And if you're watching something in real life or whether you're watching something that is fictional, either way, it's the same thing. And so, yeah, I think that's a good question.
Yeah. Fantastic explanation too. Another one from Total Drama Crap Stars. If you did another season, where would it be set since the winner of season 1 gets the mansion? It's a good question, and a question that I cannot answer. Not because we don't have an answer to it, but because we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
Because the show is called The Mysteries.
Yeah, but all in all, the series is just called The Mysteries of. And so, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very astute question. Very, very good question.
It's a dang good question.
And it has a great answer. Yep. But it's just not an answer we can give.
Not one that we can share today. Yeah. Yep. And that's, you know, even if we do get picked up for season 1, you know, if there is a second season, it's really dependent on how successful season 1 is. So that's why we're trying to be extremely delicate with how we handle this first season. So we're gonna focus on season 1 first, and then we'll see where it goes. But that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
From Ice Queen, will we get to hear everyone's backstory? You know, Nick just recently read episode 7. And in episode 7, there's a really heartfelt backstory for someone who you don't really see as a protagonist. I think people are going to like this character, but they are a little bit more angsty and a little more antagonistic. And so when you get the backstory in episode 7, it's pretty heartfelt and it's pretty touching. At least that's how I tried to write it. But Nick, what was your thought? Like going through episode 7 without any spoilers, like what were some of your impressions and feelings when getting like a very fleshed out backstory for a specific character?
Yeah, it was really good. To be honest, I felt like this character, there was a little more to him, like there could have not been any explanation, and it could have been like, oh, they just are what they are, and no one would have been like, oh, this character like just seems incomplete. But me, knowing Derek like I do and everything, I felt like there was more under the surface, and so I was kind of watching for it. And when all of those things unfolded, it really did make sense, because most monsters are, I don't want to say created, but someone is usually not born a monster, and they're usually not born a saint. There's a lot of things that happen in between there. The decisions that the person makes, and also events that happen. It's a combination of all those things. And when you get to see, really like a window into the past for this character, it's really awesome to get that explanation. And I think that will be the case for a lot of the characters. Will get similar treatment, but I think I would say all the characters get a fair amount of backstory in the videos that we have released, that are the character profile videos. So if you're interested in those, definitely check those out. But yeah, a lot of characters will get fleshed out, and I think it just makes the story that much richer.
Yeah, we're hoping to make them human, every single one of them, because no one is 100% bad and no one's 100% good. And so we want to show you the internal conflict and take you through a process to where all of these characters go through character development. I feel like it's easier to write a story where there's one main protagonist and a bunch of static characters or support characters. But we really try to
characters that are just there to like make the main character look good, or
just progress the story. But like our story is based on the characters, and so every single one of them goes through a journey and a story. And so if you relate to a specific character, that character will get their own arc. And so we treat everybody like they're the main character, even characters that presumably won't make it far. They'll get a lot of screen time, and that'll make their eliminations a lot more shocking. So we try not to play favorites with any of these characters, but we do really show you how human they all are. And speaking of which, takes us to the next question, which is, do the backstories of the characters intertwine with the history of the mansion? All of their backstories are extremely important, but there is one that is a little more relevant than all the rest, not in making themselves the main character, but as far as their relationship to the mansion. And so as we further progress in the story, you'll start to understand what that means. But yes, one of them is intimately connected to the mansion. And so, stay tuned for that.
Who asked that question?
That was from Ice Queen as well.
Oh, nice. Good work, Ice Queen.
From Senior Divine Beast. I love you, by the way. You're the best. What was your favorite part in the production of the show? What was your favorite part, Nick?
It's all been a blast, but honestly, it would have to be so Finn Morrison. As you were watching the outro and everything, that was his song, his creation. He's a fantastic musician, but also he has just a lot of skill with mixing audio and doing all this different stuff. So not super long ago, we were with him and we were putting together all the sound effects and everything, everything from when somebody bumps into somebody, or like Ember getting caught by Mick, and just all those different things, all the little floor creaks. And so we opened and closed doors with these really sensitive microphones, and we stood on his wood floor and like creaked around and just made all these different sounds. And that was, to me, it was kind of hilarious, to watch us all to take a million different types of shoes and, clunk them on the floor, and okay, let's get these 5 and clunk them together. There's so many things that go into the back end on a show like this that, you never see, never even get like a taste of as when you're just watching. But it was a lot of fun, and it was just really cool. And then watching the episode with those things plugged in was just awesome, because it directly tied into a lived experience, and so that was cool.
So I have two. The first one is the character design. I guess sending off like specific designs or actors to our artists. Specifically, it was Adam Rudine who worked on the character designs, and
Good job, Adam.
Seeing those come to life was phenomenal. It was so much fun to create the characters. But then the other one, and at every stage of the production, I always think of this. It's the scripting. I love writing the story. I love creating this world and this realm, and fleshing out these characters and showing you just who they are. That's my favorite part. And every time I'm like working on the background art or with someone, or the sound design or the music or the voice acting or anything, I always think, man, I can't wait to get back into the scripting. Like I'm always constantly thinking like, oh, I'm so excited to dive back into the scripting. And so that's always on my mind. And that's probably the most fun part and process of the production for me.
And see, that's why he needs to be in a studio, so that he can have other people doing what they love, and he can just spend time writing these stories.
Yeah, I can just boss him around. You go do that. Will there be time where one or more of the contestants gets horribly injured?
Define horribly.
Nick doesn't know the answer to this question.
So he thinks.
But oh wait, yes you do. Yes, you do know the answer to this question. Oh, yes. That's where I'll leave it at. Yes, somebody gets horribly injured, but that doesn't take them out of the game. So, well, I hate medical evacuations. Okay, it's not my style of writing. People are gonna persevere. Gosh dang it, rub some dirt in it. You know what I mean?
People don't get hurt in real life, so why would they? Oh,
yeah.
No,
let's test that theory. Where's the aluminum bat?
I think we lost it. Negan has it.
Oh yes, and we're waiting for the zombie apocalypse to bring that thing out. Lucille, I'm gonna freak out because you guys read my question. Oh, hey, Maz83, you're awesome. Polish and Italian. That would be a good. That'd be a good thing to translate. Actually, French. That would be good. Je suis un espion. What is your favorite scene from the pilot? Also, awesome pilot. Really love the animation, writing from the VAs, writing VAs, and how the frames feel like. Hey, thank you so much, Eimer Gaming. To address the question, favorite scene. What do you think your favorite scene is?
Favorite scene? Oof, that's a tough one. I think just pure aesthetically might be when Ember and Kendall are out on the balcony and like with the night sky and everything. I think that just looks awesome. Also, Ember's intro with the silhouette of her standing in the door. Just the look of it is just really, really cool. But in terms of favorite scene, that's kind of a tough one. I have to think about that. But those would be the ones that I like just visually that I think are I really love those.
Yeah, those are good choices too. I think my favorite scene, and also one of the most difficult scenes for me to write, was the Flint Yuri Twan scene, where Flint steps on the cat, Winter, the cat. It's because of how the voice actors really brought those characters to life. Michael Kim, Jakudo, and Emma Andres Moore. They are just so funny to me, and they really do have such fun chemistry together. And so just seeing Flint overreact about everything is just so much fun. So he really just brings levity to this very dismal and dark world. And so, yeah.
How was I supposed to know a furry creature was going to put its tail right where I plopped my shoe?
Well, it's cute. Thanks.
She meant the cat, right?
Yeah. And I think like Yuri and Flint just have such a cute thing going on in that scene. So I love that scene. So yeah. But the Kendall Ember scene is a close second. I do really enjoy that scene. It has this strange ambiance that shows how ambiguous the story is, you know, because that scene's actually extremely important, but you won't understand why until I think like episode 4, why that scene's important. So, yeah. Can you reveal who wins? Yes. So the winner
is you.
Is you.
This show.
Oh no, I'm not gonna spoil who wins. Yeah. Anybody could win though, so it's not set up for anyone.
And
like
somebody is going to win.
Yes, someone will win.
You know,
and we will not have alternative winners. There is one winner, just one specific winner. Will Riley and that staff have a thing? I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Is there something going on with Riley and his staff? I don't know. Just kidding. I don't want to gaslight you. Galactic, maybe. That was a good question. As a Danganronpa fan, will there be an ultimate despair type of situation? So that's from Noam again. The ultimate despair type of situation. Potentially. Like I said, we're bringing we've got a lot of inspiration from Danganronpa, and so having an ultimate despair, it's possible. It's possible. If the show does get picked up on a streaming service, are you going to stick with puppet animation or hand-drawn animation? That is a good question, and a question that we've talked about, we've discussed. We've even talked about, well, I've talked about potentially even going the anime route, which is not ideal. I actually think that the puppet animation, the 2D animation, is great because it gives you guys opportunity to take the original character designs and create your own stories with them if we were to put these character designs online. And so sticking with this puppet animation gives you more creative freedom as a fan and an audience member. And so I think the design that we have with 2D is ideal for the production that we want, because we want to make it more interactive and more fun for you guys, give you more opportunity to do things with the assets that we have. And so I think we'll stick to the puppet animation. However, the designs, when we go professional, obviously we'll have a lot more funding, so the designs will be severely upgraded, of course. And we've been able to kind of tweak the designs a little bit after we did the animation. And so we, with one of our cardboard cutouts, which was recently stolen, sadly enough, you got to see like part of that new design, which was their eyes. We call them the cauliflower eyes. And so their eye designs were different. We added more detail to their eyes, which took great inspiration from anime. So we put more detail into the irises and just fleshed out the eyes to give more personality to the design. But yeah, so we'll stick to the puppet animation when we go professional, but we'll have more of a budget to do more things with that style, and maybe we incorporate some hand-drawn things in with it to give more flexibility and bounce between the two.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great questions, a lot of great comments, by the way. Thank you so much for commenting, and thank you for all your questions. From Storm Slasher, while writing characters, how do you balance screen time? Really, it comes down to who we feel like could have chemistry on screen. And so we don't necessarily struggle with like trying to be like, oh, this person doesn't have enough screen time, let's throw them in. We just think about like, what would this character do, and how would they interact with a specific character, and then we kind of just go with that, and we try to create an organic path for these characters. And so we really don't stress about screen time with characters. We just try to make it natural, and because each character is a facet of our personalities, it's easy to write for them. So when it comes to screen time, every character gets an adequate amount of screen time. However, it is kind of difficult juggling character screen time with a mystery, because there are so many characters and then a compelling story. That's the hardest part, is balancing the two, is the story and the characters at the same time.
Mm-hmm. The good thing about this setup, though, is that, you know, there wasn't any challenge in this episode, but moving forward, these groups are going to have to complete challenges. And because they're split up into two, it means that it's a little bit more difficult for any character to sort of hide, you know, because they're both trying to complete challenges. And so everybody is kind of a valued member. But because some characters have certain strengths and weaknesses, just naturally, like Derek was saying, very organically, a lot of characters are going to get more screen time, or the appropriate amount of screen time in each episode, pretty naturally. So it's kind of, yeah, it kind of works out really well.
Yep. And then I can't believe I skipped this question. I'm so sorry. From Mr. E Short New 2. What tips can you give me if I were to try and start my own TV show or my own show? The tips that I would give you is just dive in. If you have an idea, start with the basics. Start with what you're good at. If you're good at writing, then write the scripts. And then like, if you're semi good at art, start to perfect your art, or come up with a conceptual like plan on how to develop these characters. However, the biggest piece of advice that I can give you it really has to do with the people who put their hands into this project. This project wouldn't be what it is without the people who have worked on it. And there are about 60-ish people who have helped and assisted in the creation of this process. And one piece of advice that I got from someone who's a millionaire is they said, you know, I am not the most talented person in the world, but I do know how to work with people. And so if you know how to work with people and you know how to inspire them and show them what your vision is, and get them on board with your vision, then you can make that dream become a reality. The truth is, like, if you have a dream, if you can conceive it, you can achieve it. And so you really just got to start at the steps, the basics that you're good at, get comfortable in that world. For instance, if you're good at writing, do that. But then learn to adapt and evolve, and learn how to be comfortable with adopting new skills, so that you can relate to people in different fields, and then learn how to network. So talk to new people, court their favor, befriend people, and then show them what your vision is, and and don't necessarily demand them to be a part of your project. But if you show them how successful it could be, or how fun the project will be, then people are going to naturally just be attracted to your show. And so if you can get them on board and network through them, then I think that that's really how you can make that show become a reality. And that's kind of what has worked for us, is we've been able to befriend so many talented people, and we were blessed and privileged to have them offer their help and assistance. And through that, the show is what it is because of the people that really donated their time and their talents. And so a massive thanks to all of them, because they didn't have to do that, but they did because they believe in what this show is and the core merit of what it can create. So
absolutely,
big gratitude.
Yep. One thing with that is you have to create something that is compelling. And sometimes, you know, because if you create something that's compelling, you will get those people will jump on board. You'll see their eyes light up as you explain things, and as you expose them to the art that you're making, or the scripts that you're writing, or whatever it is. And if their eyes don't light up and they're saying like, oh yeah, I mean, I bet, yeah, that would be really cool, I bet, you know, and like all of those kinds of things, it might mean that you're just not explaining it very well. You're not like showing your idea very well. So you sharpen that up a little bit. But if your idea isn't super compelling, that's not a game breaker, right? Like that's not a deal breaker, because you can alter your idea, you can change it. But that is the other key, is that very, very, very few people just create the most magical, wonderful thing the very first time they try. The best creators are creative and they have good ideas, but they also listen to people, right? So if somebody critiques your idea, you want to surround yourself with people who will critique you, not because they're trying to tear you down, or not because they are trying to just keep you from doing what you want, or trying to keep themselves from not feeling good, or whatever. They will give you their honest opinions, and that doesn't mean they're always right. Like we have friends in our group, or I'll critique Derek, and it doesn't mean that I'm always right, but I am telling him what I really think. And if Derek were the kind of person who's like, how dare you critique my idea and tell me that this was dumb? Like, you know, because you can't help but be attached to what you create. You know, it's something that came out of you. And so if somebody critiques it, it's like they're critiquing you. And so you have to have thick enough skin to bring the right people around you that will tell you if your idea needs a little polishing, right? But if you do that, then your idea eventually will be the right idea. It will eventually be polished. You know, it may take some time, but it should take some time. Good things take time.
Yeah. We've had the opportunity to meet with Olin Rogers three times, and then once in person.
Mhm.
So once in person and then 3 times over Zoom, and we've talked about our show, and he's given us a lot of critiques and a lot of great advice, specifically on how to pitch the show. And there were several things in there that we like had in there. And we were like, "This is a great idea, and it's never been done before." And then he's like, "Yeah, can that?" And it was so disheartening to hear, but but uh, but we refined it, and every single piece of advice that he gave us helped us in creating a pitch deck that we feel like is strong enough, but also fast enough to get to the point. And so, and the speed of it with the strength of it really helps create a powerful pitch. And so, getting that advice from him, even though it's not always easy to hear, it is what makes you better as a creator. So get comfortable with refinement. Which takes us to our next question from Magical Fine Rain. If MrBeast does reach out to you guys, do you think he could cooperate or be committed to your show? I have heard stories about problems with companies which worry me about new shows being made. That is exactly why we're choosing MrBeast. And it's not because we don't have trust in other companies. We've been able to talk to people ranging from HBO to Disney, and all of the people we've talked to have been pretty reasonable and kind and awesome. But MrBeast, he doesn't have this yet, which means that he doesn't have people who have been in the industry for 50 plus years, who are in this specific rut, who can only see it one way, because that's what's worked for them in the industry in the past. We want to break the glass ceiling. We want to break the crystal ball. And so the reason we want to pitch it to MrBeast is because we feel like with his company, we can not just be a highly recognized intellectual property, because if we signed on with other companies, we feel like it could be really successful. But with MrBeast, we believe that we can change the culture of the animation industry, and we can make a wave that not only affects this generation, but is something that is highly talked about, such as the inception of Mickey Mouse 100 years ago. And so we want to be able to influence the industry as a whole. And because MrBeast is pretty new into the entertainment industry, new being like within the past 5-10 years, we feel like this is a trajectory that his company is going to go. And with that being said, we've also heard just great things about his character, and we're big supporters of his philanthropy campaigns. And we want to do something that impacts the world, on a grand scale, instead of just creating something that's just primarily entertaining. We also want to use it as an opportunity to do some good in the world, and start some campaigns that bring awareness to things of medical relevance, and support them in our efforts. And so that's something that his company does really well with. And we also just feel like it matches his brand, because his brand is heavily inspired by the game show Survivor. And our show is like Survivor if it were in a haunted mansion. And so we fit his brand super well, because it's an elimination based formula, which is a genre that is so popular right now. I mean, you look at the Squid Games, the Hunger Games. I mean, a lot of different shows right now, Big Brother, Survivor, heck, even Among Us, they're all elimination based formulas, and they're extremely popular. And it's because we, for some reason, are attracted to the idea of natural selection, which I could get into this whole biology thing. I used to be a biology major in college, but natural selection is just it's not natural selection, convergent evolution, natural selection. It's essentially just an elimination process that humanity has gone through throughout times. And so it's survival of the fittest. And for some reason, we find it extremely entertaining to watch, because it shows this process of development, process of growth. And you get to see people either grow or fail. And for some reason, that's extremely compelling to watch as a story. And so we think that because of that, it matches MrBeast brand.
100%.
Yep. How long have you been green shows? Green shows. Doing shows, I'm assuming. It's probably just a typo. Yeah, I'm assuming. How long have we been doing shows? Since we started Kruger Mansion. Well, technically, that's not actually technically true. Before I started production with Kruger Mansion, I also had the opportunity to help Adam Rudine with another project that was sadly taken down. However, before that, I was the main producer and director and main actor for a show called Holiday Hostage, which is Christmas themed. So as Christmas is coming around the corner, you should watch it. It's just this comedy show where I get kidnapped over the holiday season, and I'm on a journey to get 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. It's very heavily inspired by Julian Smith's Captive series, but it's a lot of fun, and it's just this really funny story that is intriguing to watch. So that was one of my first official shows that I worked on, and that was a campaign to help me ask out my celebrity crush, which I had the opportunity to do, and I had the opportunity to fly out, take her on a date, and that was a lot of fun and such a grand experience. And after going through that experience, it helped me understand that like celebrities and people are really just human, and they're down to earth people. They're a lot like you and I, and that's what makes me not afraid of going after this big goal, which is to ask, or to not ask, but to try and pitch our show to someone who seems like they're so out there and impossible to reach. But we know now from like personal experience that these people are possible to get a hold of, and it really dials down to our tenacity and creativity. And so that was my first experience really diving into like this realm and industry. Does working on other projects such as Disventure Camp and Reality Resort help you know what works and what doesn't work on a show like this? Yes. Yes, it does. Like, I think like every show that we watch, we analyze and we try to be rational about like what works for that show and what doesn't. And then we apply that to this show in general. And it does help us with like the writing and the production and things like that. And so
every bit of experience helps, you know, and when you see the way other people do things, the way other people write things, the way other people animate things, the way other people get groups together, you know, the way that other people manage their channels and things like that. I mean, if you have your eyes open, you learn things.
Yeah. And Cove is doing such a splendid job with Reality Resort right now. And Odd Nation Cartoons is killing it with Disventure Camp. But more recently, I'm working on Reality Resort as a voice actor, Brad, and I've had the opportunity to read episode 1. And episode 1 is extremely inspirational. Like, I love episode 1. Holy crap. Cove did such a phenomenal job with the writing, and him and I have had such deep conversations about what makes a good script. And so like I am excited for you guys to see what transpires from Reality Resort. So that's a lot of fun. All right, let's answer a few more questions, and then I say we wrap it up. We're an hour and 20 minutes into this. Now we're 19 minutes. And so we'll shoot off super quick answers, because we do want to address all of your questions. I'm so sorry that your guys' cardboard cutouts were stolen. I know, both of them. Oh, it was so sad. It was so sad. But we were going to order redesigns of those characters anyways. So it doesn't matter. And we ended up emailing the cardboard cutout company that we bought the cardboard cutouts from. And we were like, hey, our cutouts were stolen, but we're here to support you. We're excited to be given another opportunity to support you guys because it means we're going to have to order new ones. And that's all we said. We didn't ask for anything, but they were like, oh, you guys are so sweet. Here's 20% off your next order. And so we'll be using that discount code.
It's good.
Gosh,
They're
dang
not
it.
super cheap.
Yeah, they're not super cheap, but you know, it was definitely worth it. And so it's a funny story, and we take it as a massive compliment that somebody stole them. So we look at the bright side of it. Even though they were stolen, we're still like, you know what? They were worth stealing. So, you know, whatever. We're okay with it, you know? Okay. Let's dive into the nitty-gritty. What happens if HBO picks you up? Then HBO picks us up. That's awesome. However, our first choice is MrBeast. So, you know, we're gonna keep our fingers crossed and we're gonna hold out for that. If somebody makes us an offer, we'll be rational with that offer, and we'll take a lot of consideration into the different paths and opportunities that we can be given.
Yep. And there's a lot of things that we are willing to kind of compromise on, but then there's a lot of things that we're not. And so if HBO picks us up, it means that they said yes when we said we're in control of this, we're in control of this, this doesn't change, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, whoever picks us up, it'll still be a very genuine, heartfelt endeavor. It won't just be, you know, that we get to, oh, you know, somebody wants to work with us kind of thing.
Yep. What episode is your favorite out of the ones you've written so far? Ooh, okay. One of my favorite scenes comes from episode 8, which Nick hasn't read yet. However, my favorite episode is episode either 5, 6, or 7. 5, 6, or 7. Yeah. Episode 5, 6, or 7. But episode 5 is strong. It's a big turning point in the show. So, what about you, Nick?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it has to go to episode 5. Although I think 6 and 7 are really good contenders. And obviously, I mean, just reread episode 2. It was better than I remembered it. You know, so it's always a plus, right? But episode 3 kind of holds a special place just because that's where like it really shifted from like this is surprisingly good to this will be successful and I need to be a part of it kind of thing. So in a way, episode 3 is my favorite, but I would say probably episode 5.
Yeah, episode 5 just special place in our hearts.
It rocks.
Yeah, it's so fun. What episode? Okay, sorry, that was from Galactic, and then Maz83 again. Will we have big jump scares over the course of the show? If yes, is there one you guys are especially excited to show? 1000%. And I think you know what jump scare I'm thinking of. There's quite a few that are really shocking and just absolutely take you by surprise.
But once again, they're not cheap. You know, you have cheap jump scares where it's like, oh, the camera just was. It's like, no, these relate to the story. They relate to the characters. But yeah, they get you.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a few. There's a few, but there's 2 that really hit home. There's one that just changes everything. It changes everything. So it'll be fun. From Noah M. Will every episode have a theme? The pilot episode was Ash, for example, which is exactly what the song is called. It's called United by Ash. Yes. Every episode does have a theme. Every episode starts with a monologue from Reynold Chaddington where he talks about that theme specifically, kind of like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. And so, great question. Will we get to see any other families from contestants like Danny's mom? What do you think, Nick? you want me to answer this one?
I think you should actually, because I think I know the answer, but I also don't want to, be the red herring here.
Yes. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We do in episode 7. If you remember. No.
I'm thinking.
Yeah. We do. We certainly do. Congrats on the release. Thank you so much, Chester801. Will the live stream be available after it ends in case we want to watch it again? Yes. Yes, 100%. We're going to keep this up. Where can I get one of those sweatshirts? Any way I can support the show? Thank you, OzzyMan314. For anybody who wants one of these signature Kruger Mansion retro sweatshirts, you can go to the link in the description below where you can actually order one of the sweatshirts. We also have different variations of like shirts and sweaters that you can buy as well, but it all has the same Kruger Mansion with a little tree breaking through the mansion.
Pretty cool.
Yep. And so, yeah, you can order that online. Just go into the description in this video below, and you should be able to find it. You can also find it in the description of the episode's video as well. There it'll have your options. So, yeah. And every sweatshirt that you buy helps support the show. So just throwing that out there. We didn't want to be super cliche and just like throw advertisement in front of you guys and make you think that we're doing this for money. Like, the truth is, we invested our time, our attention, our money into this show because we believe in the story. And so that is the forefront of what we want. It's the most important part of this process. However, we do want to make it into careers in the future. So we would like to get paid in the future for it. However, we want to start this off right. So, we didn't want to just make this an advertisement mess for, oh, go buy this, go buy that,
We hate ads just as much as you do, maybe even more.
Yep. So, but, in the future, we do want to monetize and do things and find a way to advertise these things. So we want you to want it before we try to sell it, So that's really what it's come down to, is we want you to want it. Okay. Seen in the animation these past few months.
Yeah, that's super sweet.
That is super sweet. Thank you so much, Magical Fine Rain. When's episode 2 coming out? We'll see when it comes out. Cove is the GOAT. Storm, Cove is the GOAT. And TTT, Triple T, dude, the Triple T threat. My questions for the creators is, what is your likes? Greetings from Colombia. Wow, Juan, thank you for joining us all the way from Colombia. Mm-hmm. What are some of our likes? Like, what are I'm assuming some of our hobbies is
or influences, probably one of the two. Like, you listed a lot of the shows that we, that kind of are similar to this, that we like and everything. But yeah, in terms of just hobbies, I like to do a lot of different stuff. I hate watching TV shows. No, I love music. I love, anything that's good, you could say. There's a lot of movies that I really love. I'm pretty critical, but that doesn't mean there's a lot of stuff that I don't like. I think you can be critical, but still see a lot of good, in the world. I like to play basketball, just a lot of different stuff that I enjoy doing.
Yeah. I like my journey of dominating the world. That is the plan, and reenacting Prima Nocta. I'm just kidding. No, Nick and I are both dancers as well. So we enjoy dancing. We love going to dances where we actually meet a lot of our friends. So we're big into socializing, and I think our social dynamic has really inspired us in the show, because it helps us kind of just meet new people and get acquainted with new personalities, and it also keeps us humbled and grounded. and so socializing, super fun. And then, writing, obviously, but yeah, watching shows, a lot of fun.
Doesn't do much outdoors. Can't get this guy on a hike. Like it
I
could
used
be the
to,
best day ever. He'll be like, well, how far is it?
I was a runner. I love running. Running is good.
Yeah, he can't make any excuses. He's plenty athletic, but he just is there dirt there? Could a leaf fall on?
Is there caterpillars? I don't like caterpillars.
Are there caterpillars?
From Kayla Mathers. Good old Kayla Mather. Yo, what's up, Kayla? Yo, how long did it take to develop the character looks and backstories? The backstory is much longer than the character aesthetics. Character aesthetics probably took us 6 months. The character backstories probably took us 8 months. So yeah, this was a 2.5 year process. So, and that was when it was just a very, very small group of people. And since then it's grown and then it sped up from there. So I'd say like the trajectory of the production kind of just went from like this big, like not dip, the inversion of a dip, whatever you call that.
Dip inversion.
Rise. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a huge volume of work that got done in a very short amount of time, but it's because just like you can't build a house without a solid foundation, movie studios try to do it all the time. That's where you see these, $350 million disasters. It's because somebody was like, ooh, I've got the perfect director and I've got an awesome, and this is popular right now. We got to make a superhero movie. We got to make our own, multiverse. Let's, and they put the cart before the horse, to use an old term. And when they do that, it's a disaster. Derek spent a ton of time and effort laying a solid foundation so that when the work got done, it got done right. And that
got darn so right.
It got darn so good.
Arkansas.
What was that?
Are you going to be posting episodes on your YouTube? And if so, how often? When can we expect episode 2 to release? So
depends on you.
Yeah, Cole. It really depends on if we make enough money to do a second episode, or if we get picked up by a production studio. To kind of bring it all back, the goal is to pitch it to MrBeast, and this conceptual pilot it shows what the story is going to be like, and obviously it's going to be refined when it gets signed on professionally. So if we make enough money like alone from like selling hoodies and things like that, or if we started like a Patreon or a GoFundMe, and we made enough money there, then we would definitely continue forward on our own. However,
it wouldn't take as long this time around either, because we already have so much of the assets created. I mean, just creating the mansion, like all the things that you saw, that's a fairly decent chunk of the mansion. These are places people are going to visit relatively often. There's a lot you haven't seen, but yeah, there's a lot of groundwork here that will make doing another episode a lot easier than the first episode. Doing the first episode was, yeah, like you said,
it was heavy. It was heavy, and the scripts went through so much refinement as well, and so it would take a shorter amount of time. However, if we got picked up and we had like a professional studio and we actually had people who were like working like with money, we actually could juggle like money and make it a career. Like
instead of working after their job, if like their job was just doing the cartoon,
yeah,
yeah,
then we could probably do an entire show like in a very fast amount of time. It wouldn't like take nearly as long as it would.
And you could binge it instead of waiting.
Yep. And I think we would, if we were to do it like streaming, I don't think we would release the whole show at once. I think we'd probably release like 1 to 2 episodes a week, so that it would give like people the opportunity to make speculation videos, so that it doesn't like just spoil everything from the beginning.
Yeah, that would be a huge thing if you're working 2 shifts in a row and like your friends get way ahead of you and they spoil something, because that's a big part of the allure of the show, is the mystery of
Yep.
it.
And so I'm like Tuesday, Thursdays, like episode 1, episode 2, Tuesday, Thursday. And then episode 3, episode 4, Tuesday, Thursday. You know what I mean? I think that would be just like a really cool process in the future when we go professional.
Mm-hmm.
And so great question from Cole. Thank you so much. Tacky Toes, will Reynold Chattington pop up in the show? Yes. And then we got 2 more questions, and then we're going to wrap it up. From Noah M. Again, Noam. You guys got a plan on how to promote the show on other platforms? I think all it takes is one place or a person for you to blow up. It's true. If it blows up on one platform, then it could blow up on many different ones. So we'd love to post clips on TikTok, on Instagram, all over the place, Facebook as well. Just kind of get it out there in the nether. So we're going to be doing a lot of just a lot of marketing this next week to try and see if we can just touch the right source of people to get it out there. And you guys are phenomenal. You guys are the beginning of this process, and so we're so extremely grateful for what you're doing. And hopefully, like when people make like reaction videos and things like that, it also like helps kind of the viewership go up and helps it in the algorithm too. But the thing I would encourage you the most is the way that you can support us, which is easy, simple, painless, is you just go to the video, you comment, and you click the like button. It helps us so much in the algorithm, and obviously not clicking away from the video too soon, because the algorithm also monitors how long someone's been watching the episode. So that's really what's gonna determine if our episode gets out there. But because the episode's online now, like that's all that really matters, because we can use the episode now to say, hey, this is the story we want when we pitch the show. And so it's like, hey, this is what the story looks like. And so yeah, the views kind of add the status and stuff to make it look like, oh, hey, these guys have something going for them. But the just having it out there right now is enough to show someone that we're pitching to what kind of project they're going to be working with.
Definitely. Views and likes really do help a lot, though, because when you get in a pitch meeting, doers like to see what you have done, right? Like if you go try to get a job at SpaceX and you wave a degree in front of them, they're probably going to tell you, I really couldn't care less. They're going to say, have you ever built something like this? Have you ever, what have you done? And I think MrBeast would be, Jimmy Donaldson would be the same way, where you get in front of him and it's like, okay, that sounds like a really interesting idea. To have people, do people care about it, And so you guys, all this interaction, your comments, your questions, your likes, your views, all those things, they are the biggest part of the evidence, really, that what Derek primarily here, has created is something that's worth watching and that people recognize as being worth watching. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. Final question from Breezy T. Is episode 1 the longest episode with 30 minutes? Nope. And I'll leave it at that. It is not going to be the longest episode. But thank you guys so much for joining us on this live stream. We hope that we were able to answer your questions adequately, if we were able to interpret them. And we tried to be as open and as honest about what we could answer today. And so thank you for watching the first episode and giving us such flattering compliments. You are really what makes this show successful. You and the cast and crew behind this show are what brings this series to life, and you're making it become a reality. And from the very beginning, from the inception of this show, from what it started 2.5 years ago to what it is now, it's really inspirational to see the story behind it and the miracles that have happened behind the scenes. And I hope that I'll be able to share that, we'll be able to share that with you one day, because we have seen some miraculous things happen as we've gone through the development of this show. As if there's some entity out there that just wants this show to happen, it's the sun gods out there. They're like, I'm watching you, Derek. I'm watching you. Let me cast a light on your show. But no, it's honestly, it's an honor to be able to create this thing for you guys. So thank you so much for being there with us through this journey and being patient with us. You are the rock stars.
Absolutely. And may fate grant you its richest blessings, house guests.
Take care, my friends.
You will know